So we're going to go ahead and redo this. All right. So in today's edition of Messing Up the Bag, right? Unlike that woman we had from Serbia a couple months ago that was making faces like this and getting a lot of views for doing absolutely nothing while simultaneously destroying her husband's soccer career for saying off-color comments and just being a racial nuisance. Today's individual is the complete opposite. Whereas that person was a waste of space and didn't do a goddamn thing with her life, this person is an accomplished fighter and an accomplished actor. Her name is Gina Carano. She was the former, what was she, a bounty hunter? Cara Dune from The Mandalorian. Also, she was a former Strike Force and Elite. I can never pronounce. I don't know that the second one. She was a former Strike Force fighter. She had 8 fights, won 7, lost 1. She and Cyborg, Gina and Cyborg, they main evented one of the events, first women to do that, and that was the fight that she lost. So she is accomplished. She was born in Dallas County, Texas, moved over to Nevada. Father was a former NFL football player. Mother was a casino executive. This plays into my thoughts later on in the story, why I gave her a little brief biography about who she is. Because I'm genuinely interested in who she is. Unlike that other weirdo from before, this one was a little different. So, again, guys, what have we talked about before? You are a part of a company. Why do you think that when you get hired, if you look at the fine print of your contract, it'll say things like mentioning the company's name, saying too many unsavory thoughts on behalf of the company, even if it's not on behalf of the company. Like, if you work for a company and you say random stuff, you make the company look bad. You make and what is the company's goal? To make money. The best way to make money is to sell things and sell crap to everybody of every ethnicity. They don't care about your sensibilities. They don't. They want as much money as possible from as many people as possible. So if you represent that company whose main motive is to make money and you're alienating their profit margin, then you're going to get out. At least that's one side of the story. We'll get to the other side later. And that's exactly what happened with Gina Carano today. This is not her first, second, third, or 18th time making dumbass posts. This is probably like her 57th, 58th, and those are the ones that we know of, not including Parler, which is now defunct, right-wing extremist version of Twitter, blah, 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 blah. Gina says, Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors. Even by children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them for simply being Jews. Half truth. Half of that is true. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? It's not, but we can get into that. So it's comments like these that led to her demise. Now, a lot of people are going to rush to say, First Amendment rights. To that I say, her First Amendment rights were not infringed. She is not jailed. She is not being pulled in for questioning. She is not being harassed by the political powers that be. Rather, she is now facing the fallout, consequences, and reactions and repercussions to her statement. The First Amendment does not protect you from the reaction that people give to your First Amendment right. So you can say whatever you want, but to think that there are not going to be consequences, that's not true. Now, if she was taken to jail for this comment, then you would be right. She wasn't. She was fired. She was probably fired because one of her bosses just happened to be Jewish. Now, and that's what I was going to say before. Was she fired for comments or was she fired for pissing off the wrong person? I mean, I don't know what that stereotype is about Jews running the news media in Hollywood. I don't know and I don't care. But as a person as an individual in a position of power, if I was there and I was offended by this comment and I had the power to put her ass out because she irritated me, I would do it. Not because it's political, but because it's personal and you crossed the boss. Like, I'm firing you because of what you said. I don't like if we had a one-on-one conversation inside of the office and there's no way this could be leaked and I knew that she wasn't recording it, I'd be like, look, lady, I don't care about I don't care about your views. I don't care if you're right, left, center, north, east, west, south. I don't care at all. What I care about is that I'm Jewish and you keep on talking about Jewish people. Get the fuck out of my office. And by the way, security has been notified about your inconsistent mental cocktail in your little brain, and they've been alerted and instructed to shoot on sight. So if you try to come back here and try to do some Rambo stuff, we're gonna be ready for you. It's just a joke, but like a lot of people think she got canceled for reviews, man. She could have got fired for annoying the wrong person. Let's go back to the history part, man. Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors. Let's go back. Let's go back 80, 90 years ago. I'm not sure about the exact math. November 9th and the 10th, 1938, Kristallnacht, Night of Broken Glass, right? You had synagogues, stores on fire, property being damaged. Ironically, just like Portland or some places in America, right? The police officers and firefighters and I guess other city officials were instructed to stand by, not to do anything. A weird version of the purge that's going on back then. The purge before the purge even happened in the movie, right? They were they were put on standby, told to stand by. Another individual, not recently, not far away from today's day, not far away from today's date, recently said the same thing. So the cops, the firefighters were told to stand by unless it was Aryan property being damaged or Aryans themselves being damaged. These are typically white, blue-eyed, blonde. I don't care and I don't know. I do know. I just don't care to repeat myself. Unless it was Aryans, right? So while the property was being damaged and people were being rounded up and looted up, you had the police officers and firefighters standing there. But so who was actually doing it? You had the black booted SS. I say it that way because it is a skit that I watched a long time ago. It's actually not very funny. You had the black booted SS, but you also had the brown shirted SA, the Hitler Youth, aka Gina, they're fucking neighbors. Yes, they're neighbors. You're absolutely right. It was their neighbors that were doing this stuff, but you're wrong because these neighbors were affiliated, conscripted, and later became these soldiers. Like straight up, some of them didn't. We'll get into that later. They became these soldiers, right? And you're saying, how did he get that far? I mean, ask Donald Trump. And I'm not attacking Trump, but his route. What did he do? What did Hitler do? Why did Hitler? What are the similarities between the two? That government made it the norm to ostracize, marginalize, and dehumanize an ethnic group in that country. Except since that country is far more homogenized than America is, it succeeded over there. They ended up rounding up people and beating them up. It was allowed because the government basically said it was okay. Do you know somebody else that basically said it was okay to beat up people? I think this person even said that they would pay their legal fees if they did it. I believe this person also said that they marched down to the White House with the people. I also believe these people said, this person was like, you're on standby. Like, there are similarities. So if you get angry that people call Donald Trump a Nazi, I mean, he is doing things that are similar to what happened before. You know what I mean? Uh, so, I mean, there's that. But it's unfortunate that you would say what you said and you would tell half truths. I mean, you need to tell the full truth. Um, your political view is hated. It's true. There are people that are left, and their political views are hated as well. Um, but again, you're not being arrested for it. You're not. You're not being thrown into jail. You're not being sent off. And here's another thing that always confuses me about stories like this. Why are people so quick? 26 fucking minutes. Well, I really hope it wasn't 26 minutes. Why are so people? Why do people always like going back to Jewish people? I don't understand, man. That's the first thing they go to. Like, why do you go there? Can you go somewhere else? Can you say something else? But yeah, man. And as far as other people, you had some people that didn't agree with what was going on, of course. But most of the people were there. And guess what they were doing? They were looting and fighting, and they were they were not Nazi by names, but they were joining. They probably later became what they became. And if we were to make one more tie into today's, these are your Boogaloo Boys, these are your Tea Party extremists, these are your patriots, these are your Proud Boys. These are it. And just history repeats itself. The question is, are we gonna realize that that's what's going on, and are we gonna change it? That's the question. But yeah, man, she messed up the bag. And like I said, to tie into back to her humble beginnings, um, I believe she is in a financial situation where she can say and do whatever she wants. Like I said, mother was a casino executive, cha-ching. Father was an NFL player, cha-ching. She lived in Nevada where there was no state tax, cha-ching. I mean, and excellent fighter, good actor. She could say whatever she wants. She got fired. She probably doesn't even care. She's gonna continue doing. So my question is, and I said it earlier, I applaud her conviction. But my question now is, like, if you were not in that state, that economic, socio-economic state, if your finances weren't where they are right now, would you still be reckless at the mouth like you are? So I guess the real question is, did she really mess up the bag? Like she messed up a bag, but I don't think she messed up the bag. I mean, she is the bag. So I'll let you guys decide that. But yeah, that's that. And that's how we do.